Hey guys, good morning. 6 p.m. I was up till I don't know 11:30 a.m. in the morning. I had to do some stuff. Got some bad news, but nothing for you two guys to worry about. We're here with more of the vampire counts, but first we'll see the total blog. What do we have here? Development update, behind the scenes, Total War blog. Who cares about Three Kingdoms? What it says here. Let's read what it says. Back when we first announced our Warhammer trilogy in early 2015, we explained that we wanted to interpret as much of the Warhammer fantasy world as we be allowed to. A little fate, but I don't think any of us anticipated the response to the last year's releases. Vampire pirates, prophets, and warlocks, now hunters and beasts. We all been some of our some of our most successful DLC releases to date, and we can't thank you enough for your support on this truly epic adventure. We do want everyone to bear in mind that there's a lot of content out there that is unofficial and fan created. We are working with Games Workshop to realize as much of the Warhammer Fantasy Battles world as we can. What the hell does the Games Workshop even care anymore about? They killed this universe. They killed, and now we are getting it revived better than ever. But they care if they add changes. But of course there are limits to what is possible given the amount of content that has been officially created over the years, and this content is our source material for the game. The great news is that our collaboration together has already led to amazing things, and rest assured there is plenty more to come. So we have more Warhammer 2 DLC on the way, and of course the third part of our trilogy is deep into production with the largest of our total projects teams revved up. Huh. It sounds to me like the Warhammer 3 is still cooking. It's like they're cooking an old goat. It takes 6 hours to cook. And translated into the months, might be a lot of months. There's plenty more to come, huh? We have more Warhammer 2 DLC on the way. This sounds to me like we're gonna be getting more than two or more DLCs for Warhammer 2. Which means the Warhammer 3... Are we gonna get it before 2021? It sounds like... Are they making it bigger than Warhammer 2, or I just wish they drop this mini campaign nonsense and create big moral empires for Warhammer 3. More DLC is great. More DLC is great, but Warhammer 3, it almost looks like they're delaying Warhammer 3, or something is off that they need so much time to release Warhammer 3, and to make us happy in the meantime, creating additional Warhammer 2 content, which is great. But you would think we would hear some news about Warhammer 3 already. We're almost getting close to 2020, right? We are aiming for our next Warhammer 2 DLC in Frill Sea to be out for Festag. And as mentioned in the recent patch notes, we are planning a number of fixes and improvements rather than revisiting an old world race in conjunction with this one. Hope you like what we plan, and not to worry, because yes, the greenskins will be getting updated next year. Oh man, next year. Imagine all these years of shit greenskins Warhammer 2. It feels like this whole Warhammer 2 period was waiting for the greens to get updated. Next year. So they just announced the greenskins they're getting updated next year. This almost tells me that Warhammer 3 will not come for another year at least. Oh my god. They even haven't touched the greenskins at all. Nothing. Greenskins will be getting updated next year, which means they have done nothing about the Greenskins. Nothing. Which means the Warhammer 3 is 2021. And I God we don't just get a pink, blue, red, and green chaos, and we actually get proper Mortal Empires on the release and not Chaos Fest. I mean, Bug Fest. Greenskins will be getting updated next year. Let me check the calendar. There is still 2 weeks in this month. Then there is one more month. 1, 2, 3. 3.5 months in this year. 3.5 months. It's not enough to buff replenishment of Greenskins. Why they don't just... I mean, creative assembly, what the fuck? Just give a Greenskins faction effect. Just... What the fuck are you guys doing? Go to some modern in the basement. Just give some replenishment here. Just give faction effect plus 30% replenishment or something, and then release it next year. The rest of it. Just plus 30% replenishment. You don't have to do the whole rework immediately. I mean, you guys forgot about the fate of the Empire. Still Fate and Gunpowder. What the fuck is the Fate? The Fate is missing. The Cat Assembly has pretty much redone the Empire. It's no longer still Fate and the Gunpowder. It's still Magic and Gunpowder. Fate part has been forgotten. Worship buildings abandoned. We have like bare bones Fate part of the Empire. General of the Empire and the Emperor Captain has received absolutely no effort. Zero effort. They're basically just characters from historical Total War. No uniqueness or flavor to them at all. And they can't put 30% replenishment on the Greenskins. Just put faction effect here plus 20-30% replenishment. That's like this shit should have been in the game over 3.5 years ago. And you're telling me we're gonna have to wait another year to get anything to Greenskins? Jesus. Oh man. Something we're also experimenting with is talking. Hold on. What over here? What is this out for Festeg? What is Festeg? What month is this? Is this like December? I think it's December. Okay, so good news. We're aiming for our next Warhammer 2 DLC and DLC to be out for Festeg. So we're getting a new DLC in 3 months, and probably within a month we'll be getting a hot fix for the current mess. So there is no rework on the new faction, but we're getting new stuff in 3 months. I mean, that's fine. 3 months, I like that. We don't have to wait 5 months like the last time. New DLC and 3 DLC out for Festeg. This sounds to me like it's gonna be Hunter and the Beast, but without the Empire Undivided. So we're getting 2 factions in the Lord Pack and 1 free DLC. So just no rework, so they're not gonna separate anybody. Now, also one of the disappointing things, the Greenskins are still called Greenskins, the Dwarves are still called Dwarves. The Empire is still called Empire and not their proper names. We received the Empire rework and the Empire is still called Empire and not Reichland. So this polish, you know, it feels like it's getting ignored. They did try to make all the lords lead a faction so that they all be unique, but at this rate, it'll take Warhammer 55 for everybody to lead their faction. We can, be safe to say that the Chaos and the Beastmen are not gonna get separated properly until Warhammer 3. I mean, look at the Beastmen. They have Khazrak, Morgur, and Malagor, all part of the same faction, starting on 3 different locations of the map. And 2 of them have such a shitty faction effect that you don't even want to play with them as your starting lord. But they need to be separated so you have a reason to play the other ones. Greenskins will be getting updated next year. Oh man. I thought I was ready to read these patch notes, man, but I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I mean, this game is insane. I think this is one of the best strategy games of all time. But it's been over 3 years now, and the greenskins are still shit. They don't need a big update to release small buffs to greenskins, like just add a faction effect where greenskins get more replenishment. And it's already a totally different faction. But, it seems like they can't just update one thing. They have to update everybody or a big update. They can't just do a small change, apparently. The Creative Assembly version of greenskins is horrible. Horrible. When am I gonna try Three Kingdoms? Hopefully never. I do not want to play that game. But if somebody requests it, I'm gonna somehow survive through it. I do not care any bit for that game. Any. That game has no replay value from what I've seen. I feel I've seen some people play it and I feel like I've been playing myself. And still disappointed. Who cares about the wider campaign gameplay and mechanics if the battles suck and there is no replay value? And they're releasing mini campaigns. Come on. Just forget about it ever happened. Moving on to the next Total War. So I heard this thing has been happening on for some reason on let's see. Somebody said something about this. I have Three Kingdoms since February, Doomy. Hey there. Now that I'm broke after playing WoW, I regret buying it, to be honest with you. I regret buying it. What the fuck is going on here? This is one of the best Total War games to date. Can't wait for a future addition to this one. Was this review helpful? No. I'm writing this to level out these reviews and give some undecided players a balanced recommendation. First off, anyone who says this game is 10/10 or the best of the Total War series is just cheesing. This type of reviews help no one and is the reason why Steam reviews are so off. Now for Three Kingdoms. Three Kingdoms is a pretty good Total War game and a solid game by itself. It looks good, runs well, has more in-depth politics, and a satisfying character progression early on. The reason why many players have burned out quicker than other Total War games is because it's shallower than you think. It's like that's what I thought in the first place without even installing the game. Sure, some other features of having a small faction turn into a kingdom is cool, but the mid to late game feels bland and kills a nice boss set by the early game. The units and factions seem largely the same. This could have been solved by faction unique units, however. You'll soon learn that you really don't need them. They cost a lot and you don't compare your cheaper units. Just don't compare to your cheaper units over the early units. The campaign throws you into a fun and chaotic world of warring factions headed for larger-than-life characters. Problem is, when these guys die of old age or battle, they are replaced with the generic generals. I can't tell you how bummed I was when my carefully positioned royal heir came of age to only look like a standard general. It's mind-blowing how Total War still does not put incentive on finishing a game. Sure, you can go through the mindless slog of becoming emperor, but when you finish a campaign, you can't help but look around and ask yourself, was it really worth my time? Many of these early reviews were deceptive, didn't help me when I was on the fence about getting the game. With all this said, 3K is a good game that will give you your money's worth if you like strategy games. For a long time, Total War fans is a bit shallow behind all the hype and bravado of good leaders. The devs add more meat to late game incentives such as story, unique generals, and differentiated unit types. I think the game will improve significantly. What do you mean? They can't create stuff out of nowhere. It's not a fantasy game. They only get all the story and characters at the start of the game. 10 turns later, it's they can definitely be all totally different. I totally expected the battles to be like Shogun-like variety. So what are these negative reviews? Why do people spam negative reviews? Sells Blood as DLC, sells Chinese players out to FUCKISHITTY. Shitty. Okay, sanitizing mods and banning mods that don't fit their family-friendly vision. First, there was the censoring of mods and mod creators, and there was a NetEase partnership. And now, what the fuck does this? What do they even care, man? What this game has to do in the West market with what? NetEase doesn't do anything for the Western world, right? It's just for the China. What is so mad? What is so mad? Isn't just NetEase a China-related thing? Why do we care about what's happening in China? It's like an alien planet down there. It's a totally different world. Who cares what is going on there? How does this affect the people in the West? It's a totally different world. What does it have to do with us? So it looks like people are review bombing the game because of this NetEase thing. But it's a game in China, Total War Three Kingdoms, and why are they so mad that they're partnering with somebody in China? Tell China would never have smartphones. That's random. What does it matter to do with what does this have to do with anything? Talking about people here mad about what's going out in China. How does this affect them? It looks like the people are hating CA because they are partnering with some Chinese company. Exactly. My phone has been made in Korea as well, by a Korean company. I bought a Chinese tablet and it was a piece of garbage, man. I regretted, you know, I didn't pay a couple of $100 more to get a quality tablet. How is this racist if you don't care what's going on there? So I have to care what's going on the other side of the world to not be a racist? Explain yourself, man. Explain yourself or get out of here. Who are you calling racist? I'm offended. Why would we care what's going on in a country we... I don't even know what's going on in my country. Why would I care what's going on in their country? And how people are mad what's going on with Chinese company? Sounds like a big headache. People are gonna be crying about anything these days. I never even heard about this company. Something we're also experimenting with is talking about upcoming content more and giving you more of a sense of a scale as to when you can expect updates. Oh, that's great news. Great news. I think the volume is a bit too loud for reading this. The fear is that devs will start catering to the rules of China so they don't have to make two different games. But it's a Chinese game. It's a total war in China. Didn't they make this game for them? You think they're gonna get influenced in other games by this company? This thing that's been happening with China in the last few years, it feels like everybody's mad about making profits and greed. It's like, it feels like actually a little bit shady as well. All these companies feel like they just want to exploit the Chinese people. And it's a little bit disgusting, to be honest with you guys. Disgusting. This is especially triggering. They already tap into their own markets and they're just trying to exploit people that they want to expand and exploit people there and just want to adjust it just to make profit. And it's totally disgusting. They don't even seem care, how it's gonna affect the games. Or how it's gonna affect the series.
Oh my god! Have you seen that shit? Holy shit! What the hell?
That's exactly why Blizzard made Diablo Immortal. I know that. I just didn't say anything out loud. It's still sickening. So the games are changing, you might want to say almost culturally, to the changes we don't really like, because we don't understand or we don't live in that world. And now even some people call us racist because we don't care what's going on the other side of the world. Because the Western market wants to exploit the Eastern market, the same Eastern market they is exploiting the Western market. And we are being the ones getting the most affected here. Oh man, remember when the people, made games, with passion, and not just for money. mean, the Creative Assembly cares. They definitely care still more than other companies, but it's again going into a direction which we don't want it to go, because we know what's going to happen. We're having, you know, same shit that happened to Bethesda. This is, you know, my greatest fear, that the Creative Assembly becomes like a Bethesda.
Oh my god. Have you seen that shit? Holy shit. What the hell?
Hey, Panavision Grimside, thank you guys for subs. Sorry for the delay, we just ranting here a bit. I was definitely excited when they announced the Three Kingdoms to, you know, see, you know, how they done the Chinese culture in total war, see what kind of weapons they use to fight wars, see pretty much their warfare. But it all went up, I don't know. It feels like it got ruined even before the release. It got a little bit better, but then it got ruined towards the end. But you know, being excited about these things, and then you see trebuchets from the 12th century in the 4th century China, and it's like, why do I even care anymore how the Chinese fought their wars, what weapons they used? They're having a 12th century trebuchet on the battlefield that kills hundreds of people on a big scale. Why do I even care anymore after that? If they didn't give us authentic experience. They said it would be too much of a work to make the proper trebuchet animations. I watched the Three Kingdoms series as well, Samba. I liked it. I like the Three Kingdoms series on YouTube. I watched all of it. And I don't even still feel the need to play the game. The series is great. Some of it is definitely, you know, like weird, because, you know, you don't see these type of shows in the West. But love the singing at the beginning and the end always as well. The songs. I watched the Three Kingdoms before Three Kingdoms got released, and I don't even feel the need to play the game. Something we're also experimenting with is talking about our upcoming content more and giving you more of a sense of scale as to when you can expect updates. This is risky for us, as we have seen what happens when people get upset over how long we are taking. Or when we need to move a date back because sometimes things take longer to make or change than we expect. When we announced delays for Three Kingdoms, we heard loud and clear from all quarters of the community that you'd prefer to wait for something great out of the gates, rather than getting something sooner that wasn't quite there and required further updates. Yeah, that's definitely what we want, but we still complain about, you know, the delays. And I hope you'll agree that the result was one of the best ever launches. So while we always try to aim true dates, choosing to move a date back is almost certainly going to happen again at some point. Or we may decide to change the content we have planned. Oh man, it sounds to me like the Warhammer 3 gonna get delayed. Sounds to me like the Warhammer 3 is gonna get delayed here. Making all these mixed signals here. This is very much the nature of creative game development, and is driven by our desire to make great stuff and do what's best for the game, and therefore players. We also know that clear communications on these things is what you're after, so you're not in the dark about future updates and when they're coming. We're going to be more transparent about our updates roadmap and any potential delays to the roadmap going forward. This sounds great. This sounds great. At least, you know, we know when we can expect it. And when it gets close, we are ready and hyped. When they get delayed, the wait is, we're gonna be a little bit disappointed, but you know, we know that it's soon, coming soon, about to get released. So it's gonna be easier to wait for these updates, and not just, you know, waiting 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and wondering when we're gonna get the next update. And for what it's worth, in case you were ever in doubt about how closely we hit player feedback, we've blown a stack of skill points on leveling up how your wants and needs translate into tangible in-game changes. We now have a player experience manager on the team whose life's work is to scrutinize every channel out there which players use to express their feedback and desire for change. What? We now have a player experience manager on the team. Whose life's work it is to scrutinize every channel out there which players use to express their feedback and desire for change. They just confirmed me, guys. It's a spy. They just confirmed me they have a spy everywhere. Every channel, every forum is taking notes, spying. They just confirmed officially. This gets compiled, weighed and prioritized, then goes directly to the designers to figure it out into future updates. We hope you already have a sense of how that effort has translated into fixed and chronic changes in recent updates like Empire Divided. Man, this text makes me more happy than the current DLC they released. Holy shit, this is big.
Oh my god. Have you seen that shit? Holy shit. What the hell?
Ezilhut, thank you for 1 year. This is big, guys. Okay, let's go into the campaign. We're playing the Vampire Counts campaign. Started yesterday. It's one of the milestone ones with the house rules. If you guys want information, it's in the chat, but I'll also read it aloud. This is a flavor campaign with the Strigo Lords. Vampires Gone Feral, how I call it. We are not allowed to use any heroes, campaign or battles, outside the garrison heroes. Strigo has to be unlocked as the first bloodline, so we have to put the 3 tiers into Strigo first before putting points in other bloodlines, so which slows down a little bit the research and public order a little. Once the first Strigo is unlocked, we have to replace our starting lord, which was Gorst, with him. And from that point on, we're only allowed to use Strigo Lords with the following units: Zombies, Direwolves, Felbats, Creep Ghouls, Creep Horrors, Varghouls, and Terrorgeists. So, early game we have Zombies, Direwolves, Felbats, Creep Ghouls, and Creep Horrors. You know, a combination of these. And as the game progresses, it's mainly gonna be Creep Horrors, Varghouls, and Terrorgeists. The big monsters, led by a Strigoi on a Terrorgeist, of course. Not allowed to use Vargheists, because they would make things too easy. The Vargheists are a very powerful unit. They are one of the feral vampires, but you know, for the sake of a little bit challenging campaign, they're different. No Vargheists. Is this on beta? No, I'll put on beta with the next campaign. We're 37 turns in. This is part 2. Request this year rules nobody. This is a master campaign. Most master campaigns are made by me. I will not be using a beta right now, so you never know what kind of issues it can bring. Usually it's been fine from my experience, but this campaign is already in progress. We'll start the next campaign with a beta update. I wouldn't recommend opting for the beta if you have a campaign in progress. If you're about to start a new campaign, then yes, definitely. Okay, so since we had to switch to Strigoi, we lost some early game initiative and we had to switch the army around. But since then we are recovered. We control Eastern Sylvania, we have Western Sylvania. Tempelhof is our vassal, terrorizing the halflings. Von Karstens still control Schwarzhafen. Dwarves have confederated Zufbar and Karakadrin, and they're in the area fighting a little bit with Vlad. After taking these two, we've taken down Stirland, so control the province. Currently waiting for the corruption to go up and farming some rebellions while waiting before we go expand to another province. We got a pretty good economy. These are two armies. We have Roman here with Crypt Ghouls, Fellbats, and the Crypt Horrors. We have Shield Wizard here with Zombies, Fellbats, and the Crypt Horrors. We are not increasing quality in the armies, so we can actually pile up some dark magic, and we can build whatever we want, and then we can switch to more quality armies. The vampires, they get a lot of money as they upgrade their cities. The technologies increase also money from the cities. Repression buildings, so upgrading buildings, expanding into more cities, upgrading income, and then going for the military. Right now the corruption is still piling up. We have limited Belfire buildings, but we did just research the technology for corruption, so a lot of corruption will kick in and the expansion will be a little bit smoother. This is a acceptable early game while stabilizing province outside Sylvania, the first one, like Stirland, like Zufbar, or you know, if you're crazy, Ostermark. So you basically just wait for the corruption and level up some lords. And the moment it's stabilized, it will go faster because all this infrastructure technology is gonna be there. That will help a lot with the future corruption. Next rebellion here is in 2 turns, and we still have to fortify Stirland. Stirland got changed. It used to be Wurbat and the Mut. Mut is now a separate province called the Mutland, and it has only 4 region slots. But seeing this doesn't give me much hope for the ports and the merge with the core building. The coastal minor settlements is a terrible design. And every month it passes, every update they release, every new faction that gets close to these areas, it just makes the coastal minor settlements look worse and worse. We are going. This is actually a huge raised dead area here, which is very nice. There is one here as well, and one here too. We're very close to getting one here as well. I think we upgrade this one and we'll unleash our dog Zelig on Auerheim. This should be stabilized, and then we can go into Auerland and deal with Guild. We don't need the Vargulf until we get the Vampire Crypts, the Vampire building, which gives economy also. We can probably raise Vargulfs here, so this is a low priority building. Vargulfs and Terrorghast buildings are not worth it, because the raised dead is too good for these creatures. This building gives you absolutely nothing. It just gives you a convenient way to recruit Vargheists. The Vargulfs can always be raised easily as the game progresses, easier and easier. Well, the Terrorghast building does give something. It gives Vampiric Corruption similar to the Belfire building, plus 2 adjacency. But you still have to put a slot in a tier 5 city to get it. There's not enough reasons to get a Terrorgeist Slayer or keep Diablo Wood as the campaign progresses. This building should give more. Like this building should give Vampire Corruption as well. Probably like +1 or 2 Vampire Corruption tier 3. This is not a good enough building. It just unlocks Vargheists. And Vargheists can also be raised from the dead. These battlefields are gonna become common. We already played a campaign where we just raised the dead, haven't had any recruitment buildings, and that campaign pretty much shown that the vampires don't need any recruit buildings.
What is your will? Look on me in despair.
Military buildings already have a big disadvantage. They're good for the AI, so the AI can spam units faster because they, get things sorted. But for the player just goes recruitment in a, capital province, one big city, and outside there is no reasons to build any of these buildings. Cemetery, forest, or the Terrorgeist lair. There's some corruption here, but you don't need this with this together. This is just, redundant, since this building exists. This building is good because it gives you a hero capacity, and this building is good because it also gives you money and a hero capacity, even if they moved it from tier 3 to tier 4 and tier 4 to tier 5. These units are just not tier 4 and tier 5, the Wraiths. The Wraiths have too much of everything. They have speed, they have terror, resist, and then they have magic attacks. And it's all too much on the same unit, so the multiplayer decides that this unit should stay average and not really overpowered. Moving these units to tier 4 and tier 5 should give them perfect vigor. To prevent this, to be an issue in multiplayer, they should make Spirit Well or the Font of Nightmares grant all these units perfect vigor, as long as you control these buildings. So no issues in multiplayer, and justify tier 4 and tier 5. Buildings giving bonuses, that's definitely not a new thing. I think we need still the Taskmaster. We need 3 more kisses to unlock the Dark Arts and then the Forbidden Dark Arts. Due to the nature of the campaign, we have to unlock the Striga fully first, before we can get this research here, replenishment and public order. You guys can just stay here waiting for the to stabilize this. It's gonna be just good timing with fortifying this, and I think we're gonna attack Auerland next, since our puppet is here. These don't do much for us since of the nature of the campaign. These two and these two are the best technologies, so everything else, is like depends. This is probably also among the best technologies, but we're not allowed to use skeletons since we have Striga now. We should probably get technology to buff the damage on the creep horrors and the speed. This technology here. 10% weapon strength for the creep horrors, 5% speed for the creep horrors. The ghouls are just early game, they're gonna be replaced by more creep horrors. Here we'll be able to get some buffs for the Varghulf and the Terrorgeist. Creep horrors, Varghulfs and Terrorgeists being our primary endgame unit. Everything else is not good enough. Info Noble Houses says some vampires are masters of disguise, using their charm and magic to infiltrate powerful organizations and noble houses. And it gives plus 10 diplomacy with all factions. Plus 10 diplomacy is a small bonus that will help with some factions, but it's not good enough. It should be 15. 10 is barely noticeable. By the time you get this, you already have great power penalty messing up things, and nobody likes the vampires in the first place. So you're gonna have a limited option diplomacy anyways. Unless you fight their enemies, this is just irrelevant technology. Should be the plus 15 or plus 20, and then it would make a difference. As plus 10, it does almost nothing. Factions they're gonna deal with you, even without the technology, and the faction is gonna not deal with you, not gonna deal with you even with that technology. So the moment the great power penalty kicks in, the only way to deal with the factions they don't want to deal with you is when you fight their enemies. So the plus 10 will have almost no impact, because you need 50, 60, 80 or 100 to make any difference, because they hate you. Okay, we can just end the turn here. What do we have even turning? We have these things are actually turned off. I did get a skill that lowers the upkeep on the creep horrors. Now I plan the moment I get this, I would just switch to creep horrors over creep ghouls. 156, 200. Look at that. 156, 200. The creep ghouls are basically a unit until you get economy, and you can spam creep horrors. There is absolutely no reason to use creep ghouls the moment you unlock the creep horrors. The creep ghoul technology, the skill, this one here is not good enough. If this was higher, you would actually use more creep ghouls. Maybe additional army of creep ghouls just for the numbers. 25% is nothing. I mean, look at this. They lower upkeep on a tier 2 by 25%, and then a tier 3 for 25%. And a tier 3 they just directly improvement over tier 2 unit, and it's the same upkeep difference. Shouldn't this be like 40% or 50%? Do you actually consider using creep ghouls just to add numbers to the armies? This decisions are so weird. The vampires have supply lines penalty, yeah. Plus 15% dark magic costs for all units for every lord after the first one. Yeah, that skill is too weak, Hero's Nature. Plus 50 with 40 to 50% with plus 2 rank, that would actually make it a decent skill. As it is right now, it's not worth taking. So guild attacks are puppet, huh? Let him come. Redeeming Confederate Vlad, I have no plans to confeding Vlad. If he survives, I'll keep him as a military ally. We have to defeat Geld because the Geld skill is very strong for the creep horrors. Very strong. Creep horrors have been over nerfed. They lost 25 out of their 40 armor, so they're now down for 15. They become light armor into low armor, almost no armor. Creep horrors having 15 armor makes no sense really. But they have poison regeneration, so OP if they have any armor cast multiple and stuff. Getting plus 6 armor for the creep horrors is a big deal. I mean, they totally destroy creep horrors because of multiplayer, but look at this: creep horror technology, creep horror technology, creep horror technology. Why not put one of these technologies to give that armor that was lost because of multiplayer nerfs? So why not this technology give plus 10 armor to creep ghouls and creep horrors as well? It would make creep ghouls and creep horrors even more viable. Even if you don't use them, they'll be buffed in the garrisons. This technology should add plus 10 armor to the creep ghouls and the creep horrors. or 15, 10 to 15 armor. These two are pretty much multiplayer units. This one has been doing a multiplayer, this one has always been multiplayer. 10 armor and 15 armor, that just don't work. There should be a technology here that gives them 10 armor.
Look on me and despair.
So the Emperor Swordsman has 30 armor and Ghouls have 10 armor. And now the Emperor Swordsman can go up to 45 armor because of the change technology. So 30 to 45. If you play with Geld, 55 armor. If you have him in Geld's army, that Swordsman will have 64 armor. Over 6 times more armor than the Crypt Ghouls. How far we come, boys? How far we come? The Crypt Ghouls and Crypt Dust have been seriously power creeped to some effective units in multiplayer to, you know, underused garbage. I really think the Crypt Ghouls need a little bit more armor and they need stock. If this was a stalking unit, it would actually be a unit you would want to consider to put in the army. And the Crypt Ghouls need more armor as well. The stats are good here, they just need more armor. So giving this technology more armor for the Crypt Ghouls and Crypt Horrors so they don't affect the precious multiplayer makes sense. One of these could also give stock to the Ghouls if they don't affect multiplayer. So the same technology or could give stock to Crypt Ghouls and extra armor to Crypt Horrors. And voila, you don't even have to affect multiplayer. The Crypt Ghouls are stalking like they should, and the Crypt Horrors have more armor like they should. Easy game, easy life. Yeah, that's Geld. We definitely want to fight Geld. It's a strong trait for when we defeat him. We will deploy an ambush here.
Oh my
The Striga are supposed to be good at ambushing, so it's nice flavor trying to ambush. You know, pretend you're not at home. They invade your country, and then voila, out of nowhere, a bunch of Crypt Horrors ambushing. It is the first Striga Gifts ambush chance. So deploying ambushes to deceive the enemy, it's definitely a good Striga tactic and flavor.
I will devour them.
If Geld invades, we ambush him. And getting Geld for Crypt Horrors is a big deal because, guys, they used to have 40 armor. They used to have, I think, 56 or 58 speed. I think it was 58 speed. So they lowered their speed and they kill over half their armor. And there was 3 different updates. First, they nerfed their speed and nerfed their armor, and then they nerfed, they then halved their armor for Warhammer 2. If I'm not mistaken, the Warhammer 1 version of Crypt Horrors still has 30 armor. Hey Gravy, thank you for the continued support. Right now, with this type of military, we can keep building whatever we want. We are kinda not putting extra 2,000 to military, have 2 strong armies, but instead we are building whatever we want. Remember, greed for infrastructure goes a long way. It's a difference with playing a campaign like Hans Marshall Expedition for 106 turns and 200 turns. Same goes for pretty much most campaigns. Okay, I hope Geld marches towards Flensburg and we get his trade for Roman and then for Shit Wizard after. The plans for the armies are 3 Strigoi, the legendary ones, then 1 or 2 regular. I definitely see 4 to 5 armies because we are not using heroes. And the legendary Strigoi do have cheaper Crypt Horrors. be nice when the creep horrors get veterancy. They become next to unbreakable with the extra leadership. And they receive additional 25 physical resist. With 25 physical resist, they're actually gonna be quite nice. But still, it's gonna be on a low armor. It's great against armor piercing, but it's terrible against range. And range. Looks like they might be just going for the moot. What the hell? Gotrek? I just noticed this Gotrek here. What's special about the Strigas? They have weak magic. And they have flavor towards creep horrors. And strong fighters. Which is not good enough compared to the regular Rampa Lords. Is these people at war with Gelt? What the hell? What did Gelt declare war mood then? Looks like Gotrek got stomped by Auerland, by Nilfgaard. Where that's gotta come from, I have no idea. Are they seriously at war with Auerland, declare war on Moot, and they just went suicided outside the capital? There is no way.
It is time.
Like, what the fuck? They're fighting Auerland and then they declare war on Templehold, which was my puppet. Pretty much got to war with a big faction as well. That shit makes no sense. And they invade in front of the capital to get murdered. I guess 50-50 didn't go his way. Was a suicide there.
I refuse such orders.
I'm not sure. Was Gotrek always in the game since the since the patch? You guys seen Gotrek as well in your campaigns? The Creative Assembly did send me an early code for Gotrek Felix, but I'm screw their NDA. I'm not going to be using it. I'm gonna wait like the plebs next month on the release. So I was just wondering. I didn't use the code. Okay, so I was wondering if it was a bug or something, because I read in the that they're supposed to be coming like tomorrow. Yeah, they're coming in a month on Total War Access. But the streamer got some early access, but there's some, strings attached, which I don't care about, so I'm not taking it. Yeah. Is it a little me or is it a little bit bright on the screen today? What the hell is happening in my core calibration? Every time I install new drivers, everything gets screwed. Why would there be a different color calibration when two monitors are turned on and when there's one monitor turned on? It makes no sense. I think the Windows screws everything up. If you update Windows where you have two screens turned on, it messes up the color calibration. I think there's a bug with the update. Yeah, so looks like they defeated Guild here.
We will.
I serve Sigma.
That was a really stupid move by Guild. He could have just crossed this area here and went with extra there. You can get 2 bells with the undead rebels, so I'll just save to auto-resolve here 1 bell. I'm trying to get 2 bells with their livings, because they're gonna retreat once. Dawnstone, nice. Oh man, somebody's calling. I hope it's not CA, because, you know, I talk shit about their NDA. I'll be right back. I'm back, boys. I'm back. Just Grimgor screaming, you know, about his update. I did not break any NDAs. No, I did not. You know, guys, how it is. You know, I tell you these things. I mean, I think pretty much everybody got code for the Gothic and Felix. I don't know why they started sending me early access stuff again. I did hope to, you know, get it for the Warhammer 3, but they started sending it early again. Some new guy at CA, I think. The way how I play campaigns, you know, I'm not some random YouTuber or just, you know, go every single campaign to show you stuff. You know, when I start a campaign, I play the campaign. And their NDA does not work with me. If, you know, if I can play a campaign, you know, how I play the campaign, that's pointless. And I don't need their free stuff either. Early access for Warhammer 3 is gonna be a different thing. It's gonna be appreciated.
Welcome to my court.
I don't like, you know, when they have strings attached, you know, and they ask for things as well. Especially with this Gothic thing.
The souls are mine.
Okay. I'll be surprised if anybody on Twitch does it with the Gothic strings attached. Just to show some random 2 guys in the campaign. Like, they don't even matter that much. It's nice to see them around, but it would be a shame not to have Godring Felix in this Warhammer game. This is the greatest Warhammer game ever made. Would shame not to have Godring Felix, but I feel like it's a little bit blown out of proportions. They're not even a playable lord. They're just, you know, there randomly for the Bretonia Empire in the Dwarves. They just got spanked by the Empire as well. Honestly, White Dwarfs was a much bigger thing than Godric and Felix. Godric does have a very good voice actor. Not sure about the Felix, but it's really not a big deal, really. Just nice to have them in the world. They deserve to be in this world. What is this now? New Warhammer content? What do you mean? What just happened there? Was he ambushing? How's the execution skill and markers we're getting? Yeah, it is. Well, we were planning to invade Ireland anyways, so they basically just made it easy on us to do it earlier. This thing is almost stabilized. The walls will hold against the rebels. Even with the just reward, the ports are still a lazy design. They should do more. Buff trade for start, not just flat income and growth, which is boring. I would like to see an option to remove ports from the building browser as well. So you can go to a port settlement and destroy a port if you don't want a port. Because some settlements ports are garbage. Just thinking about Tomb King's ports makes me cry when I see them. Oh, look at this! It's Gelt! We're gonna get Gelt on our legendary Strigo. Port should have impact for sure, but it should not be a detriment to the settlement's infrastructure, like Zandri or Chupayotl, or any port for Tomb Kings. Oh man. Oh man. The greater the proportion of yellow on this bar, the greater the military superiority your army has over that of your opponent and vice versa. I was lurking last night in one of the players campaign, and you know, I was reading what the people were saying in the chat. And it's like every time I would see this player attack something and the balance of power was not half yellow or more than half yellow, he would always retreat. This is a prime example of your standard Total War player. They probably have balance of power when they go to store to buy groceries. The balance of power is dictating their lives. They're blinded by it. It's hilarious. It's hilarious to see these things. And then, you know, they just look at the balance of power. You know, the usual 50-50, 50-50, 50-50. And then, sometimes, it goes, you know, guys, how army on the left, army on the right, 50-50. But it's not 50-50. The game is telling you have a chance, but you have absolutely no chance. And this player had a battle where he got attacked, and I'm looking army on the right side. It's like he's dead, And I'm seeing in his eyes, he's looking at the balance of power. It's like without even saying anything out loud, like let's do this, you know, we can do this. So it's good. The balance of power says it's good. And then he goes into battle and gets absolutely wrecked. And that's why the balance of power has to go on legendary. We don't want to be compared to these people who play the games casually. Balance of power should be removed from the legendary difficulty. Just remove it. It's just balance of power in the game is just for memes. Any good player will make an attack no matter what. They're gonna make attack. They're gonna see their army. They're gonna see the enemy army. They're gonna make the attack. If they plan to attack, they're gonna attack. If they don't wanna fight, they're not gonna fight. The balance of power is pointless. It should not be on the legendary difficulty. Because, I mean, look at this. We add another army, so we have more numbers and the balance of powers gets worse. And it's really bad towards these casual players to be balance of power for complex battles. You know, it's always gonna show 50-50. So these players will do their battles. They're gonna rely and trust in the balance of power. And then one battle, you know, they're gonna win a couple of battles with it, and then one battle, they're gonna send something they cannot win, and it's still gonna say 50-50, just because the balance of power is kind of broken. Legendary should remove balance of power bar from the game, and that should be way more difficult. Way more difficult. If you know what you're doing, which you should know what you're doing on legendary, you should not be playing legendary otherwise. You're not gonna fight battles you can't win. So what's the point of the balance of power? You're not gonna go send your forces and then you're gonna see what the balance of power says before you decide to do battle. Leave that for the plebs. That's not how you play the game. You see what they have, you see what you have, you don't look at the balance of power. Balance of power is just here for the memes, so you can make fun of it. Of course, the balance of power does determine how much casualties you take in auto-resolve, but that's not a good thing, it's a bad thing. I think a legendary, like I said already many times before, they should remove balance of power, and they should not allow you to auto-resolve battles if there are more than 10 units on each side. That's a change that should happen to legendary. Because, you know, Blizzard has destroyed the meaning and the value of the word legendary the same way we did with the epic, so the legendary is not legendary anymore. Now you can see the game like Borderlands. Holy shit, I have all legendary weapons! Just start playing the game. The legendary word has been destroyed. And Creative Assembly, you know, they still care. They should restore the meaning of legendary. Remove the shitty balance of power. Don't allow auto-resolve for more than 10 units on each side. If there is 20 on the left, 5 on the right, auto-resolve load. You're going to learn the new game. You're going to learn how to play the game without balance of power. If you worried about that. You're going to see interactions between the auto-resolve even without balance of power. Sometimes you're going to get screwed, but it's a risk and it will add to the difficulty. The legendary is in the shitter. The word legendary doesn't mean anything anymore these days. They don't have enough units for us to create a big battlefield here, so it doesn't matter if we kill the zombies, so we have to go aggro here. They mainly rely on the range here. We don't care if the bats get killed or the creep ghouls. These units have no place after the early game, first 70 turns. So the bats will just harass their range. They're pretty good against crossbow and handgunners. The ghouls will go on the wall. I have to say the new crossbow damage is most impressive. Very happy with it. The crossbows are definitely more intuitive than they used to be. Don't underestimate the crossbows. They are more viable in the end game than ever before. Almost feel like they buffed the crossbow damage since it's not very convenient to use guns. A lot of people still suck at using guns. I love the vision changes of difficulty and more experience for the AI on high difficulty. This is amazing additions. More experience for the AI has been one of the best things they've done to improve difficulty in the game and the challenge of the game. It's very, very good change. The vision changes are great, add more to the danger of the world. It's a risk without scouting, especially if you don't use heroes properly. But making such a drastic change this far late in the game, without giving you tools to improve vision, either through commandments or technology, it's what do we say, sloppy. There should be the ways to improve vision, because later when you have province, you're not seeing roads between the cities, or half the continent is dark. It just looks bad. But difficulty wise, it's definitely in the right direction. Good stuff. They just need to give you tools so you can actually get some vision. And it's still an investment, you know, you have to switch your commandments to more money for vision, or spend research time to get this technology instead of getting something else. So would be perfect. But the experience they now the AI gets to make their troops more formidable, that was a great change. It's like just made the game better. You know how many times you complain about you know, late game and seeing, especially when a faction gets killed, it's like they're never gonna see a veteran army for the rest of the campaign, or the chaos coming and having shit experience when all your units are veterans. The AI clicking battle skills randomly never get used for the veteran battle skills. Now it actually looks like the chaos moving around will be way more formidable and not just gonna get stomped by the minor factions due to receiving this bonus experience. So this is a huge buff for the chaos. And just a really good addition to the game. Oh, we're getting shot by this unit here, no? How is this unit getting killed here? You have to use some voodoo. Send the Lord Steel Guild. The walls are holding for now. The ghouls will clear them. My favorite thing about people, what the people complain recently about, is the difficulties of terrain in Lastria. Can you believe they are complaining about jungle being difficult to traverse? It's like, do they hear themselves what they're saying out loud? Crying about it's difficult to move in the jungle. One thing, you know, that they forgot to give Lisbon bonuses in the jungle to move, but complaining that it's difficult to move in the jungle? Holy shit! Who would have guessed it's rough to move in the jungles?
Give me blood.
Jungle being difficult to traverse and dangerous, it's like, should be, you know, obvious as fuck. But no, they just wanna, you know, get all the settlements and have easy game, easy life. Probably spoiled by the underway stance. Every faction can have everything. Some factions just have their own thing, which is what makes them unique. They don't also have everything. I do agree the Lizardmen should have better movement in the jungle. But the jungle should be dangerous otherwise for pretty much every other faction. Guild is down. We got the Aron bonus. I got another capital. Corruption is spreading, but there'll be some rebellions here for sure. I think a building for the vision seems to be a little bit silly. Maybe if they add vision to already some existing building. Not a new building for vision. I think commandment fits the best. So the game actually tells you have taken control of a province, you secure the province, and there should be a commandment to, you know, actually make sense with that, which gives you vision of the province as well. Like, you know, call some patrols and something like that. Give vision over the roads, the province, and maybe even some movement if you start in the region with the army. It's still a commandment investment if you wanna get that extra vision, so you can use another commandment. I think commandment for vision over the province makes the most sense, and maybe a technology or two related to like line of sight for characters would also make sense as well. There is definitely a lack of quality of life for the campaign movement. Only thing you usually get for the campaign is just movement range for the armies, but they do forget stuff like line of sight and vision. Two beds got killed, but two of them came back. Why don't we care about the beds? It's not a campaign where they're using beds that much. On Carstens get good value out of the beds, but not the other vampires really. So defeated Balthaz's guild with +6 armor for all units. Now our Creep Horus has 21 armor.
Look on me and despair.
Bring me flesh to craft.
We also got another city here. There is nothing special here. This is not a tier 2 building, but we might actually keep it for now to corrupt it faster. This should be fine now. We'll be able to defend it with walls. Talabeklan could attack here before we fortify, but we can't really play against that. We have to invest here instead.
What is your will? Crypt King.
No.
How strong is this Golden Order?
The nation called
95. It almost looks like this is their only army.
Not possible.
King of the Moon.
If I could rush Granstadt, that would be ideal before Zeli gets there.
Driven by hate. What is your will?
So we need to secure the province for the commandment. It would suck not to get Granstadt, especially because it would get connected to Drakenhof. Mut, the Tempelhof could be a enclave inside our empire. The additional armies, they will definitely pose a threat to any invader. Looks like Mut might be a perfect province for von Karstens or the Tempelhof to keep as an ally or a vassal. Really fitting. Turn 40, yeah.
No, I'm not dead. My heart still beats. But am I mortal? Well, I refuse.
We got 300 and 500 last two times.
Recusants.
This time seem to have lost money.
Cease.
It looks like it's a cooldown thing.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Have you seen that shit?
Thank you, Nature.
Holy shit. What the
So we asked them the money from them on turn 30, and now it's turn 40. It looks like they do not have money, or the cooldown got increased.
I, Vlad von Karstein, welcome thee. My will is done.
Yeah, we'll ask money from them every 10 turns. They need to pay more tribute. These two should be happy that we keep them alive. I need 2 more blood kisses for the next Strigoi. And this one will give Vampiric Corruption plus 5 to all provinces. That's a big deal. It's very strong. Shield Wizard might get attacked here. It's a bit risky to move here, but we have no heroes. We can't scout. So some of the armies will definitely be put under risk. Be a shame to lose Lord in this rank. We need to unlock some terror. Vargulfs and Terrorgeists. I'm pretty sure we can get some Vargulfs in Needling. We just have to go there. But we'll deal with this first. Granstadt has a big battlefield here. You can see this sign here. So there might be some Vargulfs here. That's my favorite vampire from lore point of view, Manfred. Not literally just from the lore point of view, just in the game. Because Manfred wants to build his own version of the Empire. Vlad too, but I do prefer Manfred over Vlad.
Your conquests strike fear into the hearts of your enemies.
It's not really like a lore point of view, it's more like in the game.
Amongst them will know that fate is on your side.
For lore, I don't care. This is new lore. You can't take what they did fucked up in the end. This is a different timeline. This is new canon. New canon. Look at this, we can take Granstadt here easy. So we didn't give us tribute last time. So it was 1 turn more, might be 11 turns. Did it give us on turn 30? We're going to have to save a lot of money, a lot of power. This will secure Overland. South of us is Karak here and we are not at war with them, but we should definitely send a second army here. They might declare war and attack Shield Wizard immediately, so we protect Shield Wizard with Roman. And the next skill will get 10 physical resist and 10 leadership for the creep horrors. This is actually quite a big deal. Make creep horrors nigh unbreakable, so it eliminates crumbling. And physical resistance, there is another one here. So this physical resistance will be their toughness. With 25 phys resist, regeneration and poison, they'll be really hard to kill unless the enemy has a lot of range. 10 phys resist, and they can still get additional 15. They do have also additional armor. I had a feeling those crows would have gotten 200 kills. They're gonna get stomped here. Damage units do get killed, especially if they're lower tier than the enemy's units. Let me show you what's happened here. Oh, look at this. We're attacking settlement during the day. What would real Strigo do? You'd see a real Strigo monster attack during the day. Why does the vampire attacks happen during the day? It makes no sense. If the vampire is attacking anything, it should always be during night. Can I just put some kind of filter when the vampires are attacking? I mean, there is a skill in the game called Dark Pact. And we are attacking during the day. Dark Pact plus leadership when attacking. And it's day. What's the matter, guys? You shaking your pajamas? This reminds me one time there was a shitty auto resolve. I think I was playing Seleucids in the Rome 2, and so I have my big army, had the elephants in the army, the most terrifying elephants in the game, and the balance of power in that game always kills elephants in auto resolve. Doesn't matter what enemy have, the elephants die and they take a million years to replenish. So I would enter that battle and I would just deploy like a line of elephants here, from left to right, and the enemy would just muster out before I even make the attack. And this is what's happening here. We just deployed a mass of creep horrors and the enemy is shaking their pajamas. It's up to 36, huh? It's not gonna be higher than 36? Interesting. Maybe they cap this. This is supposed to be increasing until the army losses. Huh. They lost 36 leadership because they're outnumbered by a huge amount. But it's not increasing anymore. So this crossman has 73 leadership. Must be nice being this crossman. "73 leadership missile troops. It's almost like they're sisters of Avalorn. So basically just Hulk versions of the creep ghouls. It's gonna be our core unit in this campaign. Like the good old days. Did the penalty increase? It looks like it's kept at 36, maybe because of the ratio, or maybe it's the new cap. This guy trying to hold a line or something. The creep horrors are still missing attack. They'll be very deadlier when they get more attack. And we have ways to increase attack. Now the veterans increase attack more than before. So they'll get more deadlier in that regard. This big hitter armor piercing units nil all the attack they can get. As they get veterancy, they'll get way more deadlier. To the point where a rank 7 one looks like some elite red ogre, while the rank 0 one is pretty much just a shitty red ogre. Yeah, the early days of Warhammer 1, the Creep Horus was the best Vampire Counts unit. They were so strong back in the day they would bully Chaos Knights. Now the Chaos Knights charge and kill them. Of course, if you get them on veterancy with Strigoi bloodline, they probably can take Chaos Knights again.
What is your will?
Their basic battle skill gives them charge and the weapon strength. They really need attack. The skill should really be attack and weapon strength. It looks like we are buffing cavalry units here. You see any cavalry units here? I don't see any cavalry units here. This one gives them 5 melee attack with additional damage and physical resistance. This one is very strong. This one is very strong. They just have to get rank 7. Creatures of the night. Yet, you know, even with a dark pact, you know, we still attack during the day. Secured Auerland. Let's get some corruption. Auerland, we do have a connection to Drakenhof around. We have enclosed our puppet, Tempelhof. They're gonna be stuck in the mood and threatening enemies with additional armies. I don't suspect them to leave for the rest of the campaign, or to honor their trees for the rest of the campaign, but for now it's good. Mut is a shit province, and they can have it. They will definitely have a couple of armies to annoy our enemies. And they're also paying us tribute, and we have trade with them. What do we have here? 2600 casualties in a big battle here.
Welcome to my
So this is currently what we can get here. Okay, we'll keep these armies at the capacity.
Strigoi, Gorky.
Well, yeah, Shield Wizard. They're definitely ahead of Red Ogres because of regeneration and poison, and you have access to heal them. Even Red Ogres get decent when you get them veteran, but this unit becomes good on veterancy. Especially with the Strigoi Ghoul King, with the Strigoi bloodline. Flensburg is getting built up. It will provide close to 700 income, maybe with tax, with extra tax, and with Awakened Battlefield will be very hard to take. Anybody trespassing here will be slowed and take extra attrition. Yes, remember yesterday was the wine value 16. It increased to 17. But the long-term partnership has still stayed 0. Looks still bugged. When we get our tier 4, we can start building this next turn. But this income is really good. Then we get 3 tier 4 buildings here. We'll be getting these 3. This is our economic buildings. It's just not military support. It's also economic, which also provides recruitment. The vampires have very expensive buildings, very expensive. They have some of the highest income on the core building and on the economic buildings. It adds up a lot, but you have to invest a lot as well. They do have technologies which boost income here, and these 3. And totally worth getting. It scales really nicely. You just have to have initial bank to build these buildings. 10,000, 25,000, 6,000, 9,000. You can already see on their tier 3 minor settlement 320 income that their income is no joke. And this city income is buffed by the 15% here. Sylvania has Castle Draenhof, which has high income, and then additional, on top of that, additional 50% income, and additional 25% income in adjacent provinces with the gold mining. It's big money. Just need to make sure the moment every capital gets tier 4 that you have dark magic ready for the vampire crypts, which is not just money but also public order, hero capacity, and necromancy, which is not just money, it's also research, hero capacity. So it'll make it easier to stabilize, and you get economy as well. These buildings are expensive, and you can see you need to pay 10,000 to get 350 income here, which is nearly 30 turns to get the money back. But you can decrease the construction cost. There is additional tax multiplier for the income, and there are technology here which increase it by 30% for the necromancy buildings and 30% for the vampire buildings. So this is actually big boosts. Make these technologies very available, and since the vampires can have a really good research, 165% from the start of the game, since the Gorz gets rank 4, 30-10, and another 25 here, makes these technologies even more powerful because you can unlock them earlier, even when the moment you get tier 4. So you can start building big bank and get extra armies and snowball faster. The vampires are not supposed to just have a lot of dark magic. They're supposed to also outnumber their enemies. Is a mix of quantity and quality at the same time. The vampiric corruption already provides good attrition on the enemy. The legendary AI is not resistant to it like they are for the chaos corruption. So this alone is already good defense. Vampiric corruption will be one of the best things for the vampires because of that. Makes the penalties in the public order trivial when the corruption is present. And on top of that, Awakened Battlefield makes them move slower to your territories. You get extra garrison, and they take more attrition. When you add the Banshees and the White Kings defending your territories on top of that, which is gonna be now a normal thing with the vision changes, makes vampires have some of the strongest defense system against the invaders. That's why I put Vampire Council together with the Empire and the strongest garrisons in the game. Third spot. This mix of all these ways to defend against the invaders makes them very strong in defense. Hey Frosty. We're dealing with the Golden Order now. They're our only enemy. It's pointless to start another war, so we just deal with one enemy at a time. He's giving his life if we can keep it up.
Why? Vlad von Karstein, welcome thee.
First spot is the Savage Orcs. Actually, since my last Bloody Hands campaign, I've decided the Savage Orcs have the worst garrisons in the game. The buffs to the Bretonnian garrison makes Bretonnian garrisons slightly better, not by much though. Skaven garrison second best in the game. They do have nasty things for the defenders. But dwarves have not just nice things for defenders, but crazy quality on top of that. Yeah. We cannot spy here, that kinda sucks. So, one more benefit of having Tempelhof as a vassal, we see there when they move their heroes and their armies, so basically they're spying for us. So, this is another benefit that I was considering when I made them a vassal. As they will have heroes around, move their armies around, so they will give us map information, vision.
Have you seen that shit? Holy shit! What the hell?
Look on me and despair. From the tombs, welcome to my court. It will be
We'll be baiting with Shitty Wizard here.
on my
We are
way.
directly on the river, which means they might have exactly enough movement. But behind Shitty Wizard we'll put a Roman, which will be ambushing. So we'll hide half of our army. One army here. The Strigo have additional ambush chance, but it might not affect the chance to stay hidden. Yeah, laser guns. Thank you for 40 months. It looks like these guys are just eyeballing each other, but the dwarves can stomp them, easily delete them. And then we're gonna have to deal with dwarves ourselves. Let me Castle Draenhof tier 4. Now we need to save money for DF4 buildings. There's probably quality here, but we have to go there first. Right now we are busy. They might have Averheim in range, which we don't see. We're trying to lure them out of Steingart to destroy their army before they get more. To the bloodlines. So we have Lamian. Lamian, these are basically they have some enough stuff for fighting and the heroes. Best for if you want to do min-max the hero game. Using heroes in the area with this makes them almost insane value. They do have also perfect figure, so pretty good fighters with physical resistance too. 30% cheaper cost upkeep for all heroes, which is huge. The vampire counts rely on the heroes, and their heroes are very powerful, so you're gonna use a lot of heroes, and this is gonna save you a lot of money. This one will reduce the vigor loss for all armies. This one is really good. One of the best ones to pick with this one as well. The third one will give campaign line of sight to all characters 150%. With the changes to the vision, the Lamian bloodline has gotten way more powerful. You need more heroes to scout, so they're gonna be cheaper because you get more, and you do get some line of sight as well. The Banshee might have similar line of sight before the nerf when you get the tier 3 one. Von Karsteins probably are the best one to open after Necrak. 20% replenishment, access to the Civilian Crossman. They do have +5 public order, which is one of the best ones as well. And the last one gives you access to handguns as well. Having some ranged units for the vampires is interesting to see in the armies. both crossmen and handgunners, but they're not really fit their armies that well. Just some, you know, flavor. The lords are not bad either. The Blood Dragon, the fighter ones, they buff all the cavalry, 10% damage, 100 experience for all units, all armies per turn, and the last one gives immunity to untainted attrition, so you can pretty much go a little bit more aggressive. If you like using a lot of Blood Knights, even Lancers early, this is the one to go. The Blood Dragons are very cool looking, and strong fighters as well. It's a very nice flavor, but the campaign benefits of other bloodlines are way too powerful to consider Blood Dragon as your option, unless you want to go with the flavor. Future Vampire Counts campaigns pretty much we're gonna make it flavor around the bloodlines. Like this one is flavored with the Strigoi. The future ones will be flavored with the other bloodlines. If you're playing the challenge campaigns, unless you're playing a regular campaign, we'll try to make future Vampire Counts campaign build around the bloodline flavor. The Necrarch is the best one to open with. Gives you 25% research. Gorst on turn 1 gives you 30% research. Gorst also has a skill on low rank which gives you another 10% research. So unlocking technology makes faster. Of course, you snowball faster, get more powerful faster. Some of these technologies are critical to the vampire strategy. Getting early free skeletons, early growth and corruption is really good to make things go faster earlier. So getting 25% research is you should always go for this one first. Unless you're playing like, you know, the flavor like we play with Strigoi here, you're challenging yourself. This is always your first one to go. Then the Public Order. After that, it's probably best to get corruption or this one here, since the changes. But always start with research. It's just a no-brainer. Getting technologies ahead of time, it's super powerful. The next one just increases the starting amount of Winds of Magic, so you always start with max pretty much 30. Close to 30. This is nothing special. The third one lowers upkeep by 10% for all armies. It's very strong, but not the top priority. The Strigoi one increases the ambush chance on the, I forgot to say it, but these guys are very strong support wizards. Very strong support wizards. They have really cheap spells and lots of power. So they're strong lords, the Necrarchs. The Strigoi have ambush success chance plus 20% for all armies, nothing special. You know, it goes with their flavor though. So you might want to use ambush a little bit more often just to go with their flavor. The second one is very powerful, Vampiric Corruption plus 5, all provinces. Very powerful. The third one is less powerful because of the second one and the Public Order here. But if you have Public Order and the third one with the second one, of course, will trivialize penalties from corruption and the lack of it. So the Public Order will get trivialized. With the obedience to the vampires, they already have easy time managing Public Order on Legendary. Expansion basically gives rebels, which makes things go snowball faster too. So the moment you get the third one, trivializes the penalties pretty much. And on this one, it's Public Order. What's Public Order? Click, click, click. Just conquer everything. Don't even matter anymore. Of course, optimizing how fast you get the blood kisses is best with the Banshees. Assassinate, create special Banshees. You know, this is what I said. It's totally justified to make a Banshee a tier 4, because Banshee is the assassin. It's also one of the strongest heroes in the game, Bellas included. Making Banshee tier 4 will also unlock the bloodlines slower, because the bloodlines are super powerful and they should definitely be harder to unlock. Making Banshee tier 4 was a great decision. So it will be these things will be more precious and slower to unlock. You can now of course use the White King to wound, but it's not the same. The White King, you definitely want White Kings on the campaign map 2 or 3 and use them to harass assault units mainly. They do have a place in the army, like the Emperor Captains, so that as well. The Emperor heroes, they have an excellent set of heroes. The Necromancer, White King, Banshee, and the Necromancer, Banshee, and the White King. They all feed the army, and 2 of them are invaluable on the campaign map. Usually the Necromancers and the Vampires go into the army, strictly into the army. Banshees and the White Kings are invaluable in the campaign map for the scouting and the harassment, which is just enhanced with the Awakened Battlefield. But the White King and the Banshees also are very strong to put in the army as well. What do the White Kings do in the army? They're serve the same role as the Thanes. Thanes, they're tanks. They can also duel. So deny enemy charge, help against stronger units, or just usually best used to prevent enemy cavalry from charging. So protect the flank and prevent the enemy cavalry from doing chaos. So pin the enemy cavalry down to kill them. That's probably the best role for the White King. If the enemy has no cavalry, you help the Grave Guard and other units fight better. You'll have some item slots on the White King. You can have armor which lowers the attack of everybody around him, stuff like that. The items make the White King way more powerful than it actually is. If you get good items like the armor that lowers attack. They do want to have a Healing Sword enchanted item, but help other units fight better and mess up the enemy flanking is the best way to use them. You do have White King unlocked in tier 2, and you get additional one in tier 4. You'll get plenty of White Kings. You can get 2. You can get 1 White King per capital, so they will add up, and 1 Banshee also per capital. You'll pretty much build this building in every single capital, and probably this building in every second capital. I recommend the Vampire. Feels like for the short campaign you're not really gonna get great experience with the Vampires. I do enjoy playing long campaigns with the Vampires, although I don't play long campaigns when we play challenge campaigns. We just play short campaigns. I do prefer long campaigns when we are less restricted, so we have perversions available. So Vampire Counts is a perfect faction to play for a long campaign, and it's very enjoyable to play a long campaign with them. This is one of my favorite faction, and from time to time we'll be playing a long campaign, no doubt. What building every capital? The Vengeful Spirits. So you're gonna have a lot of Banshees, and they'll not just be on the campaign map. You wanna recruit every single Banshee and every single White King available to you now. Every single one. While the Necromancer and the Vampires you recruit as you need them in the armies. Since the changes to the vision, you do want to recruit every single one. For the Vampires this is more true than the Empire, for example, due to them also having 50% cheaper heroes. It's not very convenient to spam a lot of barracks with the Empire, while the Vampires have a more suitable building infrastructure for the heroes, and them having 50% cheaper heroes makes Vampires want to spam heroes. Spam them on the campaign map, spam them in the armies. This is a faction which favors the heroes in all of their strategies. But that's why we have no heroes, you know, it's a big handicap when you're playing the Vampire Counts. There's some issue with the lag, guys. I'm gonna get a coffee and hopefully it will go away. The Twitch servers are acting up again. I'll see you guys when the lag goes away. We're gonna have a huge delay when this fixes. So make sure to refresh the streams.
What is your will?